John Sandwig, former acting director of Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE, under President Obama, and former federal prosecutor Barrett Berger. John, sorry about that. It's been a long day here. I do want to ask you, deportations are, of course, nothing new. The U.S. government does them all the time. The Obama administration did them. The Biden administration did them. But when it comes to children who are U.S. citizens of people being deported, how is that usually handled? Is there a process for this? And if so, was that followed in these cases?
Well, typically you want to avoid these cases to the greatest extent possible. And I think the larger question is why were we prioritizing this woman in the first place? This woman, based on what I'm seeing, it looks like she had what's called a stay of removal, meaning that she had gone through the immigration courts and ICE had chosen to allow her to stay in the United States because of those U.S. citizen children. The problem is, once she's taken into custody and they say you have 3 days here, regardless of whether or not she had a meaningful choice as to whether or not to give her kids to somebody else, it is incredibly difficult under those circumstances to make an informed decision. And then, as I understand it as well, the family members were coming forward and saying, hey, we want to take custody of her, and ICE was questioning the legitimacy of that relationship. The point here is you put her in an untenable position where, although technically she may have had a choice, she really didn't have a choice, and ultimately has to take her kids with her. But we go to the larger question, which is the president has promised us a focus on criminals, a focus on gang members. Why did we create this situation in the first place where it was this urgent to take this mother and her kids without giving her a meaningful opportunity to find some way to hand off her kids to a family member?
Well, hell, Becky, the answer is quite simple. First of all, Trump is a bold-faced liar. When he got all of the Hispanics, and I'm talking about the Cubans, the Ecuadorians, the El Salvadorians, the Mexicans, when he promised them deportation, they thought they meant the other people, the bad people. But there are not millions and millions and millions of criminal Hispanics in the United States. Trump promised millions of deportations. The only way he can do that is by deporting people who just crossed the border illegally.
Barrett, that's the question I keep asking. We even asked the Maryland man who was deported to El Salvador's lawyer how he got on this list, how he became a target of these operations. How are they choosing these individuals? Do we know what qualifies someone to qualify for deportation? If, as the administration has said, they're focusing on gang members and criminals to that point, how do moms and their kids get caught up in this sweep?
It's a great question. It really shows how the landscape has shifted even in just the last 100 days. The administration has said very publicly that they wanted to focus on, MS-13 members, gang members, people who were here without cause, who were then, creating violence and committing crimes. That's one thing. Going after people who are here, they may be undocumented, but they have children that are citizens, some of whom have serious illnesses, is a radical shift. And it's so important, and this really demonstrates why due process is so critical in cases like this.
So Becky number 2 up here says she doesn't understand how we got to this point when Trump said all he was going to go after was gang members and criminals. Well, what you guys have to understand, and I know how Peckerwoods talk, you have to listen very closely to what they say. Because when Trump said criminals, he meant if you came over here illegally, if you didn't go through and get your paperwork up front, then he considers you a criminal. It doesn't matter how long you've been here. It doesn't matter if you have children born in the United States. As far as Trump and this administration is concerned, Tom Homan, Pam Bondi, and the rest of them clowns, these Peckerwoods, as long as you didn't come over here and got paperwork when you first came in, then as far as they're concerned, you're a criminal. And you got Anton Daniels, you got the Messy Machons, you got the Officer Tatums. All of those people have been saying this since February, that Trump sees if you didn't come over here legally, you're a criminal and you will be deported. And so now what they're doing is they're doing this better self-deport, because Trump knows he can't get the millions and millions of people that he promised to deport. He can't do it on his own. ICE can't do it on their own. So it's this fear mongering that he is doing now. Telling people that if you don't self-deport, you can end up in an El Salvadorian prison. If you don't self-deport, then that means you can never come back. But see, you have to listen to that again. See, you have to listen to what he's saying again, because he said you might not be able to come back. What Trump is saying, if you self-deport, you ain't coming back. Nobody that gets deported is coming back, not under Trump's administration. Because these people are already here. Why do they have to leave to come back to do it the right way? They're already here. A lot of these people who are being deported have gone through all of their court cases and are waiting green cards. If you don't have your green card before Trump finds you, then you're up out of here. Because a lot of these people are already, are already going through the process. So why do you have to leave and then hopefully, maybe, Trump said, you can come back? It's all a lie. It's all a Peckerwood lie. Anyway, guys, thank you all for coming back to the Black Only News and Entertainment Network. Peace, take care, and be safe.